This offseason has addressed two situations about two stars. These two stars who aren't really happy about their team and are instead seeking for a trade. But currently, they're still waiting on suitors. And this is, of course, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers and James Harden of the 76ers, where these two stars have pretty much requested trades over 2 weeks ago, but still, it hasn't been that close to a deal happening. Of course, the Dame one is probably more realistic than this Harden one happening anytime soon, but still, nothing has happened between these two stars getting traded, and it's an interesting situation. I mean, it's going to be pretty much a waiting game for both of these teams where they're pretty much not in any hurry to trade these stars, and they're instead looking for pretty much the best package for Dame and Harden. So it's going to be really interesting. Now, this might not end until a couple more months, but still, it's interesting to talk about. So before I start, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, as it further motivates you to make more videos like this. So that being said, let's get started. So first, right off with Damian Lillard, of course the Heat are his main destination. It's been reported that the Heat are the only team that Dame wants to play for, but they just don't have the best assets. I mean, there's been reports that Dame is only willing to play for the Heat and no one else, but really, Dame doesn't seem like that guy to really do that, pull a Ben Simmons where he doesn't play the whole season. And with over $40 million in his contract on the line, if he doesn't play, he's not going to get that money in. It's going to get even more, 40, 50. I think the last year of his deal was $60 million. And him not playing and missing out on all that money, that seems really unlikely. But still, of course, he wants to play with the Heat. He wants to play with Jimmy Butler. He knows there's a winning culture with Bam. He knows that they made the finals the last two. They've made the conference finals the last 2 years in the finals last season. So it makes sense, of course, why he wants to go there. But the Blazers just need to do what's best for them. Sure, Dame has been super loyal to them for the last couple of years, and probably could have requested a trade a couple years ago. But still, even though he probably is their best player in their franchise history, I mean, it's arguable with Clyde Drexler. You need to do what's best for your franchise, so it makes sense. I mean, just getting a lower offer that isn't good for your team to build around, that just doesn't make sense for the business side of the league. And the Heat package isn't the best. Now, there's been reports that a 3-team trade might happen because they don't really want Tyler Hero. Of course, Tyler Hero, yes, he's a 20-point-per-game scorer, but besides that, he's a decent playmaker. He's not a good defender. And especially on this Blazers team, you see the context where they have Scoot Henderson, they have Anthony Simons, they have Shaedon Sharpe, and I would say Anthony Simons is just a better Tyler Hero, honestly. So having that skill set of having both of them is pretty redundant. It doesn't really make much sense. So if they can flip into a third team, I think that would make sense. But what third team would want him? There's been reports that maybe the Raptors want him, maybe the Nets want him, and maybe they can work something out like that. But that just makes the deal more confusing. So the Heat right now, I think their best offers around Tyler Hero, 3 first-round picks, and salary fillers like Duncan Robinson, Kyle Lowry. Now, of course, Duncan and Lowry aren't really the best contracts, but if you need them to match salary, especially since Lowry, I'm pretty sure, is an expiring deal, so I'm sure a team would be willing to take that because after next season it comes off the books. But the Blazers have reportedly wanted 4 first-round picks and 2 young players, and maybe the Heat can do that with some manipulation, but that's going to be pretty hard to get to. And the Blazers have no reason to rush. I mean, they've said they've been willing to wait months for this Dame situation, where sure they know Dame doesn't want to play for them, but still they want to get the best package, not rush it, just trying to get the most value that they can from Dame, which makes sense. I mean, honestly, they have a pretty solid young core already. Like I said, Scoot, I think, is going to be a star in the league. Shaedon Sharpe showed so much potential at the end of last season. Anthony Simons is a 20-point-per-game scorer on high volume from 3. And then you still have, sure, the Jeremy Grant and Yusuf Nurkic contract aren't amazing, but, still some solid players that maybe they can flip Nurkic. Maybe, who knows, but, still, this team is pretty solid. And I think that most likely Dame will end with the Heat. There's been more traction recently that maybe if they can flip Hero for some more first-round picks or another young player, they're willing to get the deal done. But still, I think this might take a while to do. I mean, I don't think it's going to be the KD situation where he requests a trade and then still stays in the team. Of course, the Nets were a championship-level team when they had Kyrie, and the Blazers really are going a different direction. But still, the situation's getting interesting, and we'll see where Dame ends up. And then moving over to the James Harden side, I mean, it's interesting because Harden still wants out. There's been reports that Philly still wants to keep Harden, which makes sense. I mean, there's reports that James Harden hung out with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, but still, he wants out. He's still determined to go. I'm pretty sure his prime destination is the Clippers, and I mean, maybe it can work out. Like for the 76ers, they may get some like solid role players like Marcus Morris. I don't even know if the Clippers are willing to trade Terrence Mann, but like Norman Powell, maybe some players like that. And maybe it's going to help with their depth, but most likely they're going to get worse as a team, especially with how much they're going to rely on Tyrese Maxey. I mean, there's reports that they want their, like Tyrese Maxey is literally untouchable, which, I mean, of course, Tyrese Maxey is an amazing player, like, especially for like the value they got the 20th pick and how good Tyrese Maxey has been, like, especially how the way, not only is he a good driver, but he's been a 40% three-point shooter, and his jump shot has really gone a long way since he's been drafted. And I think he's, of course, something you can build around, but like still, like on a championship team, are you really relying on a 23-year-old like 6'2", 6'3" point guard? Like, that's pretty risky, and especially with Joel Embiid, who knows how long Joel Embiid will stay healthy? Who knows how long his prime will be? Like, they have to compete now, and losing Harden, sure, Harden was really inconsistent last where one game he would drop 40, second game he would drop 10, and then 10, and then 40 again, but like still, like, in the regular season, a 20 and 10 person, that's like huge from a team, and missing that is definitely going to impact your team a lot in a negative way. So we'll see. I mean, it seems like a trade won't happen soon. I mean, the Clippers overall, like having Harden, Kawhi, and PG, like three unpredictable players with their health or with their playoff like performances, like that's pretty risky. Maybe, I mean, the Clippers have been missing that lead ball handler. Sure, they have Russ now, but like Russ is a little bit different than Harden. They had John Wall, they had Reggie Jackson, who didn't really work out. So maybe they're willing to make that huge splash. Maybe they're willing to say, okay, we have Kawhi, we have PG, both on expiring contracts, or they have a player option. We need to go all in now for Harden. Now, having your three best players on expiring deals is a little bit risky, which I don't really think any team would want to be, especially with three Asian stars. Like, Harden's above, they're all above 32, 33 years old. So it's interesting. Maybe they can work things out. I really don't know. It's just such a risky move for getting Harden, especially that he's on an expiring deal. Like, if he doesn't like it, we've seen that Harden hasn't really shown much loyalty to a team since Houston. So if he doesn't like the situation, he can just go, and all of these assets are going to give away. It's pretty much for nothing. So I don't know. Maybe it's going to work out. Maybe Harden, PG, and Kawhi is like, of course, Kawhi is also injured, so we'll see when Kawhi comes back. But like, maybe that trio or duo with PG doesn't really work out. So who knows? I still think like Joel Embiid, I feel bad for Embiid because like he's gone through two now disgruntled stars where they had, of course, they had started with the process. They got him and Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons didn't work out, and then they had Jimmy Butler. That 2019 roster was still so stacked. They had Embiid, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, JJ Redick, Ben Simmons, and if that Kawhi shot doesn't go in, I really wonder what would happen to this team. Because like, if Jimmy Butler was still on the 76ers, this will no doubt probably have made at least the conference finals for sure. But another disgruntled star in Philly, Joel Embiid, his prime. I mean, he's had his two best seasons in the last 2 years, and in the playoffs, yes, he disappointed, but like he's been hurt. And if he can have one healthy postseason with a star that isn't disgruntled, maybe they can make it all the way to the finals. I mean, they almost made it to the conference finals if they didn't choke in Game 7 against the Celtics, and especially when they had that 3-2 lead. But like, still, this Sixers team is interesting. Like, I really don't know. It's in such a weird situation. Daryl Morey has to make all the correct moves to make this work out. But I really don't think they're going to rush it, neither for the Damian Lillard situation. Like, it's going to take time to go out. It's not going to be like, oh, we have to trade this guy immediately, or like something bad's going to happen. So we'll watch out. I mean, we'll see how this progresses in the next 2 months. Maybe we'll get an update in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens. So that being said, that's the video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time.